yesterday floodlights. KCB stunned Tusker 2-0. And it was not a match people expected KCB basically to beat Tusker. So Tusker coach Okere has a long way to go. They have to really bounce back quickly because the opener, you don't like losing the first game of the season. So in the first match of the season, of course, KCB yesterday beat Tusker 2-0. And another game has just come to an end, of course. Kariobangi Sharks versus Bandari has finished 0-0. Kariobangi Sharks versus Bandari has just finished 0-0. Ingwe Yamatere, to all AFC fans, Ingwe Yamatere, of course, is playing Sofapaka Batoto Bamungu. It seems like this match is going on well. Batoto Bamungu won, Ingwe won. It's halftime 1-1. Ingwe versus Batoto Bamungu, and I think we'll watch to see what the second half has, because Ingwe would like to start the season on a strong footing this year, and last season Sofapaka didn't perform really well. There were two more matches which were supposed to be played in KPL today, of course. Kakamega Homeboys versus Nairobi United, the debutant Nairobi United. It seems that has been postponed, so the match is not underway. Also postponed is the champions, Police FC versus Bandari, which has not... Police FC versus Mara Sugar, which has also been postponed. So two games which have been postponed is Police versus Mara Sugar, and of course Kakamega Homeboys versus Nairobi United. And Kariobangi Sharks have managed a stalemate of 0-0 with Bandari. And Ingwe Yamatere versus Sofapaka, it's 1-1. Yesterday I said, remember that KCB stunned Tusker 2-0. Back to English Premier League. Seems to be a very interesting day in English Premier League. Of course, we say that Liverpool has managed to squeeze 2-1 versus their Merseyside rivals, who we call the Toffees. I call Liverpool the Scousers because if you listen to their English, they speak like... That's what the Scousers speak. They speak English which you cannot even hear. What baffled me about that match today is that when Liverpool went 2 up, they started to sit very deep, and they were trying to hit Everton on the counter, and that invited a lot of pressure for them. You can argue that the result is what it is, but Everton actually gave a good account of themselves by scoring that 1 goal, and towards the end, Liverpool were basically hanging on. If they got a bit of cutting edge, I think that game would have ended into 2-2. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's wait and see if Liverpool will manage to be squeezing the results until the end of the season. But there's one coach who I feel must really style up very soon, and is none other than former Tottenham coach Ange Postecoglou. Ange is in charge of Nottingham Forest. And remember, the owner of Nottingham Forest, Mariankis, is a crazy dude. Remember, he fired the former coach on the field. Now, I see that Big Ange has played 2 games and lost 2 games. I don't know whether, if he doesn't win today, if he'll still have that job, because what I know, he really has to win that match, because Nottingham cannot afford to lose, because midweek on Wednesday they lost 2-0 to Swansea, championship side. I think that was a midweek game, but not a league game. But the other week they had lost 3-0. In the Premier League. So it seems that Ange has to really settle in Nottingham and do what he deserves to do, because it's very difficult for you as a coach to settle for a team which does not win. Then Graham Potter also, I think pressure will be piling up in West Ham because they expect him to win, because there are a lot of protests in the capital, in the East London. I remember when I was in London a few years ago, the West Ham fans are always very interesting chaps. They really love that team. Hapo ndio unaweza pata ugali if you go to West Ham, that side in East London. East London, you'll find some Indian shops who have even Tusker. If you've ever traveled to East London, it's a very interesting space. But it's a place, it is what it is. So Brighton, I think Brighton this evening, they didn't start the league very well, but I think they will churn a bit of results this day. And it's interesting to see what happens in their match. So it is an interesting afternoon. It's an afternoon where a lot of fixtures are going on, and also the KPL fixtures, English Premier League fixtures. Later in the evening, of course, we're going to bring for you Manchester United versus Chelsea, and Ruben Amorim must decide whether he wants to play. Yesterday, the most interesting thing I heard about that coach is he said that even the Pope cannot convince him to change his formation. My friend, this is EPL. You look at your opponent and you set your team according to your opponent. You do not set your team according to what you like. So Ruben Amorim is adamant that even the Pope cannot convince him to change his formation. So all Man United fans are included. We expect today Ruben Amorim to play 3 at the back, as usual, and a midfield, as usual, with Bruno. Last weekend, you could see Bruno did not track back and were hit by Foden. If Bruno had tracked on Foden, that first goal wouldn't have been scored. So it's about lapses, it's about lack of intensity, it's like a lack of ability to control the game. So not that the players are not good, it's only that we are playing round pegs in square holes. And when you have round pegs in square holes, the result and the outcome is very, very predictable. So Manchester vs Chelsea comes up later in the evening. And as let me give you the scores of what's happening right now. I think the matches are still tied up. I'll tell you the scores in a minute when we come back, because it seems it seems that Nottingham has scored the first goal. As I said, Nottingham has scored 1 against Burnley in the 5th minute. West Ham versus Crystal Palace on the 6th minute is still 0-0, and Wolves versus Leeds United is still 0-0. Brighton versus Tottenham is still 0-0. Big Ange has surprised Burnley with a very fast goal in the first 5 minutes. So it seems that Big Ange is not joking today. Fulham versus Brentford will come later at 10 p.m. So that's what's up. That's what's up. We're gonna tell you what's going on. Of course, AFC versus Sofapaka, the second half is also underway. Away from football, of course, it is the World Championship. Kenya has now officially 6 medals. Wanyonyi has won the 800 meters this afternoon. A few minutes after, Beatrice Chebet won 5,000 meters gold, and Faith Kipyegon settled for the silver in that race. So it is a bright afternoon for Kenyans in Tokyo. It's a bright afternoon for Kenyans in Nairobi, You're just going to tell us what you think. And give us feedback on this show. It's the Pitch Side. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno, with my super DJ Charms on 1 and 2, and my great producer, Robert Murgor, on the decks with me. Keep listening. It is the Pitch Side Show.